In this video, we are going to explore the area and perimeter of parallelograms. Let's begin. So before we do some area of parallelogram problems, let's review what area and perimeter are. Area is just the amount of space inside of a flat two-dimensional object. It is measured in square units. For example, unit squared or units squared, that's another way of writing unit squared, that exponent 2 raised to the power of 2, that means squared. U squared means unit squared. Inches squared, feet squared, miles squared, meter squared, kilometer squared. You can have centimeter squared as well, or any kind of length squared. So what do we mean by square units? Well, if I wanted to measure the inside space of this rectangle, I need to count up all the squares. I can't just, anyhow, this is what area is. It's the amount of space inside, and this has 15 squares, so 15 square units. And if I wanted to find the area of this parallelogram, I count the squares, although some of them are cut, and so we'll learn about that shortly. Perimeter. Perimeter is just the total length around the outside of a shape. It is measured in regular units, like units, U is units, inches, feet, miles, meters, kilometers, centimeters. Notice they're not squared units. So perimeter is just the distance on the outside, or the length of the outside. So like this is 3 and this is 5, so that's 8, and 3 more, that's 11, plus 5 more, that's 16. So the perimeter of this would be 16 units. 16 units long, whereas the area was 15 square units because there were 15 squares inside. And you could also find perimeter of this as well, although it's complicated when we've got these two slanted sides and I can't really figure out how long those are. Anyhow, let's look at the area of a parallelogram formula. Area of a parallelogram could be found A equals base times height, B times H. So the base is just the bottom of the parallelogram, and the height is a line that connects the bases, and it forms a 90-degree angle. So the top of the parallelogram also is technically a base as well. So it also forms a 90-degree angle with the height. So if you just drew a random line that kind of goes across like that, that wouldn't be a height. It has to be a line that forms a 90-degree angle or right angle with both the top and the bottom, or the sides. It depends on which ones are the bases, because you can't actually do that with these two sides. So opposite sides of a parallelogram are parallel. That means they both run in the same direction and they'll never touch if you keep extending those lines. So they're parallel and they are congruent or equal in length, and that's a little congruent sign. It's like an equal sign with a squiggly. And congruent just means they are equal in length. So this base is equal in length to that base. So if this was 5 inches right here, then this also is 5 inches. If this is 2 inches, then this is also 2 inches. Now, these two are parallel to each other, and these two bases right here are also parallel to each other. So they have two pairs of parallel sides and congruent sides. Now, the base and the height form a right or 90-degree angle. We pointed out the right angle right here. Here's one right here, and it also form a right angle with the other base as well. So what is this illustration with the rectangles? Well, you may be thinking, well, don't we multiply length and width to find like a rectangle or something? Well, you can, but this is just kind of showing you that a parallelogram is essentially a rectangle, except, and if you did some cutting and moving, then you would have basically a rectangle. So here's our base of our parallelogram, and here's our height. Now, let's say I cut this off, and this right side is still, the height. If I move it to the other side to form a rectangle, because that's what would happen, I would be multiplying length times width, just like I would down here. So, it's just kind of a cool little illustration with that. Anyhow, let's move on to our examples, our problems. So draw and label the polygons, then find the area. A parallelogram has a base of 12 inches and a height of 4 inches. So what you're going to want to do is draw yourself a little parallelogram. I drew a height and my little parallelogram. It does not have to be, perfect. It doesn't have to be in scale. This has a height of 4 inches, and this has a base of 12 inches. Like I said, it doesn't have to be in scale. Like clearly this is not 3 times bigger than that or 3 times longer, but it doesn't matter. It's just a drawing. It's just a reference for us. So we need to draw and label the polygon. So I labeled it by putting the numbers in there. And now I need to find the area. Well, area for a parallelogram is base times height. And we do need to write the equation, the formula, I mean. So we fill in the information we know. The area is base, which is 12, and the height, which is 4. And so let's simplify this. 12 times 4 is 48. And what unit is it in? Well, it's in inches, so the area is in inches squared. So we measure this with square inches. So let's write that down for the area, 48 inches squared. Let's try this one. A parallelogram has a base of 3 centimeters and a height of 8 centimeters. So we're drawing a parallelogram. I drew a different looking one that's a little taller, but honestly, if you drew the same parallelogram and just labeled it with different numbers, that's fine. Anyhow, it's got a base of 3 centimeters. It's got a height of 8 centimeters. So let's find the area. Let's rewrite our formula. Area equals base times height. And we don't know the area, but we do know the base, which is 3. And we know the height, which is 8. So let's simplify that. 3 times 8. So area equals 3 times 8, which is 24. 24 what? 24 inches? Well, no, it's 24 centimeters. And we need to square it because we're looking for area. So 24 centimeters squared. All right. You can try number 3 and pause the video, or you can keep watching. Let's keep going. A parallelogram has a height of 7 meters and a base of 3 meters. So I draw another parallelogram. It's got a base of 3 meters. It's got a height of 7 meters. How do we find the area? Well, area equals base times height. And we know the base, it's 3. We know the height, it's 7. So replace h with 7. And then let's simplify that. Area equals 3 times 7, which is 21. 21 what? 21 inches, miles? No, 21 meters, and it is area. So we are squaring it. 21 meters squared. And so area equals 21 meters squared. Number 4, it says it's tricky. I wonder why. A parallelogram has a height of 2 feet and a base of 5 inches. So let's draw our parallelogram. Let's draw our, 2 feet and 5 inches. I don't want to put a 2-foot height and a 5-inch base. And you may have noticed the reason why is because feet and inches are not the same unit. They must be the same unit. So what we're going to do is we can turn these 5 inches into, convert that into feet, or we can convert these feet into inches. Now, it's probably easier to turn these 2 feet into inches than it is to turn this into feet. So that's what I'm going to do. 2 feet is, they're 12 inches in a foot. So if you multiply 2 times 12, you'll get 24. So it has a height of 24 inches and a base of 5 inches. So 5 inches, 24 inches. And you'll see this does not look 24 inches tall, but like I said, it doesn't matter. It's just a drawing. It's just a reference point. Let's write our formula. A equals B times H. Area, we don't know, but we do know base. Base is 5, so replace B with 5. We do know H, which is 24. The height is 24. Now let's simplify. Area equals 5 times 24. That's calculator work. It equals 120. 120 what? 120 feet? 120 inches? Nope, it's 120 inches because we converted everything to inches. Therefore, inches squared should be our answer because it is area. So 120 inches squared. All right, let's look at the area and perimeter of the parallelograms. Now they have it drawn for us, and they also want us to find perimeter. So let's start off with area first. Area equals base times height. Now the base is 13, and the height is, we've got 9 and we've got 8. Well, 8 is just like this slant height right here. The height, it forms a 90-degree angle with the base. So it should be 13 times 9. And when you multiply those two out, you get 117. 117 what? Centimeters or centimeters squared? Well, we're looking for area, which is measured in square units. So 117 centimeters squared. Let's do the perimeter now for number 5. Perimeter can be found by adding up all the sides. So if this down here is 13 and this over here is 8, what are these two sides? Well, if this is 13, it's congruent with the top, which means the top is also 13. If this is 8, the other side is also 8. That's just how parallelograms are. They are congruent. The opposite sides are congruent. So now we just add up those numbers. 8 plus 13 plus 8 plus 13. If you add all that up, you get 42. 42 what? 42 centimeters. Now, do we square it? No, because perimeter is just regular length. It's not square units or square length. So 42 centimeters is our answer. Let's do number 6 now. The area of number 6. Area equals base times height. What is our base? Well, it forms a 90-degree angle with the height. So here it is. It's on the outside at 16 meters. So 16. And our height is going right there. Like I said, it forms a 90-degree angle, so it must be the 10. So let's multiply 16 times 10, which is 160. 160 what? Meters squared, because it's area and it's meters. So 160 meters squared. Let's look at perimeter for number 6. We need to, let's fill in the information, the missing information. If this is 12, then that's 12. If this is 16, then this is 16. So let's add up all the numbers outside. 12 plus 16 plus 12 plus 16, and that equals 56. 56 what? 56 meters, just regular meters, because it's perimeter. All right, 56 meters. Let's do number 7 and number 8. Area of number 7, base times height. Now this is going to be kind of weird. The base seems like it's 2 feet, and it is, because as you see with this outside length, like technically you can draw a line that goes down, but it sort of meets on the outside. So sometimes they'll draw a line on the outside like this, and you'll see a 90-degree angle. Basically, this over here, the 5 is the height. It's not the 6. The 6 is a slant height. So, and the base is going to be the top, the 2, and the bottom, which is also 2. So it forms a 90-degree angle with the bottom. This is 2 feet down here, and this is also 2 feet up there. So our base is going to be 2. A little bit tricky. Our height is the 5, because like you said, base and height form a 90-degree or right angle. So 2 times 5, which is 10. 10 what? It's area, it's feet, so it's 10 feet squared. Let's do the perimeter of this now, of number 7. So it's just 2, which makes that 2. If this side is 6, that means this side is also 6. Let's add up all those numbers. 6 plus 2, so 6 plus 2, which equals 16, and it's in feet. So that's our answer. Let's do our last one, number 8. We've got the area, and we've also got one of those weird ones. What's our base? What's our height? Well, technically, this forms a 90-degree angle with this up here. So this right here is our base. And, well, if this is 6 right here, then this is also 6. So our base is 6, and our height is 13, not 15. So area equals 6 times 13. Now, some people wonder, well, what if I do 13 times 6? Will that mess up the answer? No, it will not. When it comes to multiplication, order does not matter. Whether you multiply 6 times 13 or 13 times 6, you're going to get the same answer, which is 78. Go ahead and try it on your calculator. You'll see it ends up with 78. Anyhow, 78 what? Well, it's in inches, and we are measuring area, so it should be inches squared. Last part, looking for the perimeter of this. If this side is 15, we need to figure out what this side is. Well, it's 15. Now, what's this missing length right here? Well, this is 6, which means this over here is 6. So let's add up all those outside lengths. 6 plus 15 plus 6 plus 15. If you add those two up, you get 42. 42 what? 42 inches. By the way, some people have recognized that, well, if these two things are the same, can't you just add 15 and 6 and then just multiply it by 2 and get the answer? Yeah. Yes, you can. But that won't work all the time. So it's a good idea, if you don't know things like that, to just add up all the sides manually. But it's up to you. If you're a smarty pants in math, you can do that. All right, and that is how you find area and perimeter of parallelograms. Go ahead and try some problems on your own. Good luck.